Yeah.
My God. Well, I think hopefully we're live now.
Okay, guys, we've got a new Hangout live right now.
This is Quinn's on the phone to
a chat room. Yeah, so you guys.
This is like being late for a dinner party. I'm so sorry.
In the chat room, join the chat room.
I'm so sorry.
Hang out with us. Are the questions live
now? I don't even know anymore. I mean, I think
this is like Mr. Robot or something. Just all the technology happening from every angle. 31 viewers.
Who's hacking us? Somebody's hacking us. I'm 4th time's the charm. This is ridiculous. This is like me trying to kill a fucking Dark Souls boss. Moriarty asks, will everything be okay now?
No!
I don't know.
It won't.
I don't know. The problem was last time it just ended. I don't even know why. All it said is Google just said the Hangout has ended. And it didn't say like connection problem or anything. It just went, that thing you were doing, it's stopped now. It's over now.
It wasn't like there was no pop-up window going.
No error message. It just quietly went, oh, this isn't happening.
I was literally talking about my bonsai tree.
And then we were like, hang on a minute. It says the Hangout has ended.
Yeah.
Who ended it? How did that end?
I thought Matt had closed the question and the Hangout by accident.
Did somebody press the hang up button on you guys? Or it takes one of you to go.
Okay, you know what, man?
Let's just jump into
Let's assume we have 10 minutes.
Let's assume that we've been doing this for oh my God.
Andrew Brinson asks, how are you feeling, Matt? Still sick?
Yeah, I'm still sick, and I'm actually feeling unbelievably ill now that we spent 50 minutes doing this, but never mind.
You know what's awesome is because of where I'm sitting in the light, I have a kind of healthy glow, but you look very pale, with the white balance. If we could swap chairs, we'd look the same, but that's not going to happen.
No, not going to happen. I can lean back.
There you go. That's perfect. Francis Esquadro says, will I get shouted if I ask, what could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, I don't even know. I mean, I think this has been a real lesson in don't ever try and do anything ambitious. Just do what you know. And
make videos about devil daggers.
Restart your router before you do anything, maybe. I don't know.
Restart everything.
Just switch everything off and on again. Oh man, we're really bad at this. But never mind.
We're not bad, man. None of that was our fault.
Well, some of it was
our fault.
Yeah.
But R2.2
That's a good question.
Will we ever get more spooky tracking from Quinn's?
This is a funny one because the internet had a really different reaction to me with this. And when I watched the spooky video with Quinn's doing the truck thing, I just thought, wow. I was like, that was amazing. It was I found it really unsettling personally because it was I wasn't expecting it to be a real story in a way. I wasn't expecting it to be not just being oh, somebody died here a while ago.
It's oh, here's Millie Dowler.
Millie Dowler, it was a story I remember a lot from growing up, and it's has more significance, I guess, because it actually happened to a girl who was my girlfriend's age in her area where she's growing up, so it had a much more of an impact on her.
She must have grown up near Paul.
Yeah, well, I guess so, yeah. And so it was this thing of being she was even, you couldn't go out at night and stuff. You had to be really careful because they knew that this guy was going around, somebody was going around kidnapping blonde young girls. So it was kind of a big thing. And so it caught me off guard a bit. And I was like, oh man, this is kind of uncomfortable. But then I really enjoyed the video. And by the end of it, I thought, I was just like, wow, that was a really cool, one-off thing.
It's a weird vignette, isn't it?
And then I saw all of the comments being do more. And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like it was such a good thing, especially because you talked about ghosts at the end and about that. That's kind of a one that you can't do that every time,
No, so that's what I would be with you. But actually, when I would sort of say at the end, send in a ghost story if I've got 3 really good ones already from people emailing them to me. And
maybe that.
I don't want to do a series, but if in a month or 2 months, I could do Ghost Truck 2.
No, yeah, if you've got a good story, yeah. I mean, it's one of those things. I think I'm just
Plus, if I keep playing it and unlocking really long routes, I can do a giant.
No, I liked it. It was just one of those things where I didn't even think.
Dude, I could, because I've got the Scandinavian DLC, because I've got a Steam Press account, I just get everything. I could do a thing from driving further and further north into colder and colder places through snow and rain.
Yeah, that would be good. Actually.
There might be more spooky trucking. There'll be more spooky something else. I've got the next video I do for Cool Ghosts is going to be horror themed, so it's going to be spooky as shit.
We've just been doing Dark Souls, actually. We ended up talking about horror quite a bit. It's funny because I'm not even a big horror person, but I do like it, which is strange. I got really into it when I was younger.
Everyone likes horror.
Yeah, I don't know. I find it's like a curry, It's like it's a bit much, but I like it.
It's like then you have PT is just
I couldn't do that. You see, PT is too much for me.
PT is
I like being a bit scared, but not too scared.
Oh my god.
This is
Oh
embarrassing.
my god.
Quinns, how is the bonsai doing?
Am
Quinns,
I in hell?
You've told me
Am
about
I in
your
hell?
bonsai. You talked about it for like
I'm in
5
hell.
minutes.
This
and
isn't
we
no,
were
dude. This is a joke because they're recreating the
They're recreating
circumstances
the
for the fucking
exact-
hangout. Short version, I overwatered it. You can tell because the tips of the leaves blacken and then they fall off.
It's good. This bonsai tree is good.
It's nerve-wracking, man, because when you get it, it goes into shock and loses all its leaves, and now it's kind of getting them back, but it's losing them because it's overwatered. I think it's fine. And I'm going to bring... Oh, no, I promised this. I'm going to get a photo on my phone to show people of roughly what it looks like.
Okay.
You do a question.
Okay, cool. It's a tough question. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but Stephen Brownwood asks, is there a game you regret recommending to people? I think so, no. There are games where, like, I over time, I've kind of enjoyed them less and for different reasons and I've stopped recommending them, but I've never really been like, oh man, I wish I hadn't recommended that to people.
The thing about a review is even if you change your mind at the game, the review is always a permanent artifact of how you felt at the time. And that never changes, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think there maybe have been a few times where I've like started playing something and I've been like, oh, this is amazing, you got to check this out. And then it's not actually been as good as I hope. That actually gets picked up by the camera pretty well.
It does indeed.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, that's kind of shit. If you Google Chinese elm bonsai, you will see a nice photo of the breed, at least.
Of the breed, not yours, but close. But yeah, no, I mean, it's weird. Like, if it's just a recommendation, like every now and then I'd be like, oh, this is awesome. And then I played a bit more and go, actually, it's not that good. And you kind of feel like it's mainly things like, you know, if you tweet about something, you'd be like, oh, this is really cool. But then the problem is you always have to treat that when like people are just tweeting about a game that like, that's not definitive. Like if someone says this seems cool, that's not like a review.
Yeah.
And with reviews, it's fine because like even when I used to recommend, even when I used to write reviews, which I don't do very often anymore, you still caveat it of being like, this is for this specific type of person. And if you're not this person, then don't do it.
There's also within, to get slightly technical, like these days it's fine because if we change our opinion on a game, we can mention that on a podcast or a site because we're in total control. Back in the day though, when you're the guy who has to slap a number on a thing, which is what me and Matt did a lot when we were younger, you can't. It's not an industry that lets you change your mind because if you give something a low score or a high score, you immediately entrench because you can't. You represent the magazine, which means the magazine can't like sort of be seen to be like sort of like what's the word, flip flappy, like
yeah.
And then also you know that your colleagues are watching you, and if you put a number on a game, then you can't then be like, oh, I think I was wrong, because that is so damning, at least within the culture of the UK.
Yeah, it's kind of odd in the fact that, like, obviously you have to maintain the idea that a magazine, yeah, everyone knows that a magazine is just a collection of people who will not always agree on stuff. But at the same time, magazines and outlets do still, well, they used to, I think it's changed a bit now, but have to have this sort of image of being a kind of a united front. So I used to actually get a bit pissed off when I was a magazine sometimes. If one of my colleagues had like reviewed something that I was a bit more of a specialist in and they'd given it a really good score, I'd just be like, or
Yeah.
like if they'd not, I mean,
Because you still have to be seen as a super team.
yeah, so you still have to be like, you can't just be like, yeah, well, we gave it that, but I don't think it was that good. But there were occasionally, especially when I was kind of annoyed because, you know, my boss would know that there were certain things I wanted to play and I wanted to review because, you know, it may surprise you to find out that I'm a bit of a fucking mad control freak. But obviously he also knew that I had pages to write. And so he'd know that I want to review something, but he'd be like, yeah, but Matt, you've got to write all this shit. You've got to write all this shit. You've got to do this shit. You've got to go on this trip and stuff. And so he'd give it to a freelancer, but he wouldn't tell me. He just like, he just quietly.
That's good management though, because if he told you,
He was good at his job. It's fine. Like, you know, he basically gave it to someone else, and then the first time I'd see it would be like, oh, well, we got a review of this in this month. When did this happen? And he'll be like, oh yeah, somebody had it and they offered me a review, and we didn't have time. So he's like, I know you want to do it, but it's fine. We've got it done. We've got the copy. That's all we need. And then sometimes that'd be really annoying if we'd have a review of something and I'd read the review and I'd go, I don't feel that this has got it. Like, so actually, yeah, it was more like if there's a game you regret recommending to people, it's more that I kind of used to get pissed off sometimes at RxM when, as a magazine, we would recommend or slate things that I thought we got wrong. But that's the weird thing about being in a group entity. And people
if you've seen The Shield or cop dramas, like sometimes a cop will do something fucked up and everyone will know it's wrong, but all the cops will still cover for that cop because the alternative is to reveal a weakness in the entity.
Yeah. And that's kind of an odd cultural thing which kind of still lingers a little bit in terms of being like, you know, people saying things like, well, IGN gave it this. And I find it interesting sometimes, like, you know, we don't always agree on games. Like, often we do, but often we don't as well. And it's funny how people go, but Matt really likes XCOM and Quinns doesn't like XCOM.
I like XCOM.
And it's like, no, but it's this funny thing of like, that's fine.
I
like,
think XCOM 2 is sloppy.
I think it's even weirder when, I think you're right, but I still love it. But I think it's this weird thing where like, when you are a site which is literally 2 people, it's like, it's even more like, kind of like, but what the cool ghosts thing.
But I was living with Subterfuge at least. Like, there was room in the site for me to go, hey, actually, Subterfuge is awesome. And you're like, no.
Yeah.
I'm kind of bummed because they announced all their new features and they're all like, none of them are gameplay changes. I want new content, but it's all like esports.
But you did write a thing about why it was good.
Yeah. I'm bummed right now because I was looking for an opportunity to return to it. But yeah. Oh, hello. Okay, let's do some quick ones. We spent a while on that.
Sure.
Hello, James Merry. Thank you so much for donating. You are a fucking trooper. What is the strangest thing, James asks, in Matt's kitchen?
You tell me.
Matt's kitchen is like, because Matt is a good cook and he lives a healthy lifestyle. What's strange? I guess you must have some you got like quinoa and lentils and that, which is pretty strange.
I don't eat quinoa.
If you don't eat it.
No, I don't eat quinoa. That's too much for me. That's too pretentious.
Oh, you'll have like those stupid vegetables that you don't know how to cook.
Yeah.
But then you learn, obviously.
Yeah, I got a lot of like just
celeriac.
We've got lots of jars of different types of like flour that I don't really ever use.
Oh, I know what the strangest thing in Matt's kitchen is. As a beautiful aesthetic thing, your tea bags are in a large jar.
They're in like mason jars, yeah.
And then there's a tiny little like a little bit of blackboard, like a slate, which written on this chalk is a single letter indicating what the tea is in there.
It is, yeah.
So what letter do you think it is, people? Because it should be the letter T for tea.
No, because we've got different types of tea.
It's the letter B for breakfast tea. But breakfast tea is what foreigners call it.
Yeah, I know. But we have R for rhubarb tea, and we drink a lot of rhubarb tea. That's my other half. She likes to make things nice. So we've got all the stuff is in jars, and they'll have like little blackboard labels on it. It's very sweet.
It's sweet, but it should be the letter T.
To be honest, my kitchen is like my domain, but at the same time, it's full of stuff that I don't really know or care about. Like it's full.
You're kind of like a sort of fascist dictator, where it's your domain, but you don't care about it.
I do. I just respect that it's outside of my remit.
Okay, so you're like a really liberal, like an anarchist leader.
I just accept that like outside of this room, I have very little control over what happens in the flat.
That's fine. Like the Secretary of State, but for the kitchen.
Fine. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. I get a say, but it's listened to, but it's not control. That's for sure.
Eric Tengblad, Shut Up and Sit Down mod extraordinaire and soon to be mod of something else that we will reveal soon. And donor, God, Eric, you're the best. With your successful internet video channel, do you ever get recognized in the street? If you do, how weird does that make you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what.
I love it.
Yeah, it's fun. It is fun, actually. And I've had a couple of times where you get recognized, and it's really nice. You know, the funny thing is you get...
In a moment.
No, it's just interesting because all it does is it really just adds a third layer to a social awkwardness thing that we all experience, which is that moment of sometimes when you catch eyes with somebody and you have that moment of going, do I know you? But you don't say this, obviously. You're just thinking, do I know that person? Have I met them before? Or are they just looking at me because I'm looking at them?
Yeah.
And having that awkward thing of trying to place the person and then usually just going, oh, I don't think I do know you. No, I'm just staring at you, and you're looking at me because I'm staring at you, and you think, ignore it.
Right
but
now,
then it adds this third dimension of being like, are you looking at me
because I'm awesome?
Because you know who I am, but I don't. But then it's awkward because then you have this thing afterwards. People say, oh, I saw you earlier, but I didn't say anything. And it's like, oh, I wish you had. It's so much easier when people break the ice. And actually, the one time when I get recognized by most I know about is at gigs or music festivals. Like when I went to Glastonbury, I got recognized by 6 people, and it's so much nicer because everyone's like really chilled out and everyone's like just drunk and having fun. People will just see you and go, oh, and they'll just get up. And I've done this, actually. I've done this in real life. I've seen someone I know at a festival. I've just leapt up and waddled over and go, I know you. You're great. Because everyone's in a good mood and it's fun. So it's a lot more easy like that. And it's always lovely. Yeah. But you do get recognized. But not in the street. I like around here because nobody knows who I am. I'm just the weirdo who sings in Waitrose.
I am. Yeah, I dress up occasionally and run around the park with a camera.
You do.
I have it lucky, and I mean, to some extent, Matt does as well, whereby we generally don't get recognized much at all, ever. For 54 weeks out of the year.
Yeah.
And then there is Gen Con, the board game convention, which we go to for Shut Up and Sit Down. And that is absolutely unreal because the town is taken over by the convention. So people are everywhere and everyone knows who you are.
Yeah, like lots of people know who you are.
And it's kind of good because after a week of it, it's amazing to leave.
Yes,
but it gives you that window into celebrity of like
it's really fun.
If that was your life, you would go mad.
Yeah, it's just exhausting. You just wouldn't go anywhere because you don't want to be the sort of person who's just constantly going, "I'm sorry, out of time, because you want to talk to people and lovely. I meet so many lovely people.
Have we told the story of the best? Because we're at Gen Con, we get super tired. At cons in general, we get like tired like nothing else, and we try and cover for each other at different moments. But there was a point at Gen Con on the final day, the first year we went, where a guy came up to me and said, you're Quinns, I love your work. And I don't know why my brain just like, imagine like an 8-cylinder engine, which is my head, and 7 of the cylinders don't fire and one of them just pops gently. And my response to this guy was, oh yeah, I like my work too, that's why I do it. And like, but I meant it to be funny, but the delivery was wrong. And then Matt, who's right next to me, sort of hears this and shows up and goes, it's really nice to meet you. How's it going? What's your name? And all this stuff, knowing it would have been a fucking disaster otherwise.
It was genuinely amazing. I remember last year, where at the point at which we were really like wiped out. We were in the airport. We were on our way home, and we'd just been talking to strangers nonstop for days, and it was so cool. But we were just so tired, and we just finished having a conversation with some people who we were still getting recognised in the airport, and we just finished having a conversation, and then we just turned around to go to this bar, and literally behind us were 4 Asians who'd I think come.
They were like it was like 6 Korean people.
Yeah, they come from Korea. Sorry, and and we just like it was this thing of being like 6 people who travelled from Korea to Indiana in America, who wanted to talk to us.
But like behind you as you turn around.
It was like a horror film. You turn around and suddenly there's like all these people suddenly around you. But it's like as well because it was like we were so tired. But it's like, which is this point we just really, and occasionally you do have to do this when you're so tired. Just say, look, I'm really sorry. We're just so tired. We just want to we're just going to go. I'm really sorry. But it's
and people understand.
And people understand. But in this case, it was like, you guys have come from Korea. Like, no, we will.
Yeah, no, we had to.
We will talk
it together.
Like,
we had a really
so sweet.
After we now know this, but after the live Gen Con podcast, which are in front of like 300 people, we could probably fill a bigger room than that this year if we get our act together.
Yeah.
At the end, you sort of say from experience, if anyone would like to meet us, please form a line. And then suddenly you have 150 people in a queue to meet you. And a lot of them don't even have like anything to say. They just want to shake your hand and be like,
that's awesome.
Which is a cool American thing. And we're doing the same thing at the UK Board Game Expo this year.
It'll probably be about 6 people, yeah.
It'll be 4 people. One of whom will like give us a bottle of beer, and 3 of whom will be. It's going to be.
But no, it's lovely. It's kind of like it's kind of get this in a.
Just because English people are.
But we get this in a bit of a microcosm with the Hangouts. I think it's just nice to have just knowing there are 80 people or something who will just come and sit and.
It's really nice. It's so nice.
Listen and ask us questions and stuff. It's really reminds you the sorts of people you're making stuff for. Sorry, I'm not getting emotional. I've just got wind.
You're going to start crying. Crying with wind. Oh my god!
Maybe that's what you did last time. Oh my god! Maybe you pressed stop broadcast. I bet you did. Quinns just went to click done on the question, but just went and hovered over stop broadcast button. I reckon you did. Oh my god!
I probably did. Didn't I?
Probably did.
That's why there wouldn't be an error message.
That's why there wouldn't be an error message because Quinns just went. We're done now. I'm going to talk about my tree to nobody.
Have I ever told you guys that I'm a really good critic and writer? I've got skills. I can edit videos sometimes.
This is why.
Aren't you glad you took me on to Cool Go so you can take me under your wing?
I am just as bad. This is why, games writers haven't moved into YouTube and Twitch. It's because we're just technically incompetent. It's weird. I've gotten quite good at video editing over the years, but when it comes to things like live streaming and stuff, I'm just instant dad mode. Like I'm just like, how does this VCR work? I don't understand it. It's just awful.
That's why we have to keep working. Osmels of the booze that we were sent, and also drinking the Shut Up Sit Down Catacombs Let's Play.
Yeah, that was a good use.
If you were a starship captain, what would your ship be called? I can answer this because I was a starship captain in EVE Online, and all my ships were named after Ian M. Banks culture ships because they have the best names.
That's a good show.
I'm going to bring up the Wikipedia page now. List of Ian Banks culture ships.
They got some great names.
List of space culture from the Culture series. If you haven't read a culture novel, this is why you read them. It's the GCUs, isn't it?
Yeah, unfortunate conflict of evidence.
The Little Rascal, the Prime Mover.
Of course, I still love you.
Invincible. Oh, the list of weapons. The Just Testing. The Size Isn't Everything. The Sweet and Full of Grace. What are the civilian applications? Question mark.
I like one of them is called Very Little Gravitas Indeed.
Oh, it's so
it's
good.
great. It's just because the ships are like sentient and also have a sense of humor sometimes.
Yeah,
but sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's like they have like quite serious names because they're quite serious entities, and
yeah,
they're great. They're just like,
oh god, one of these
bored
the
monsters.
GCUs, which are the ones the size of continents. One of them is called "Helpless in the Face of Your Beauty." Another is called "Boo!" exclamation mark.
Yeah, some of them just like absolutely. One of them is called "You Would If You Really Loved Me."
You can look at this list all day, can't you?
No,
the honest mistake, the yawning angel, the serious callers only.
Oh man,
Yeah,
I'd probably go for one of these because there are such an amazing.
Really
I remember someone else's problem being one of them.
Someone else's problem.
That's a great.
Now look what you've made me do.
Oh man, I really want to just read more.
I've read all the good ones, and they just get kind of there's diminishing returns.
Yeah, there is. It's like once the wonder of the universe is gone, but each one of these seems to have at least two or three
the
really good
outstanding
ideas.
contribution to the historical process.
Oh man, we should jump back.
Yeah, God, sorry everybody. I could read those books.
Yeah,
but
it's the other window.
Thanks, guys.
Don't stop the broadcast.
Don't
even joke. Don't even joke. We'll do it by accident, and then I will actually like have a breakdown.
It's funny because like it would strain Matt and my relationship in a way that it has never yet been.
No, it
strained.
wouldn't. It wouldn't. I'd just be like, it's fine. I'm just going to bed now.
Yeah,
it would be fine.
Which
would just be like, I would just be like, I'm done. I cannot do this. Anyway, Callum Bennett, and we probably can't even. I don't know what time you've got to shoot off because you've got to go really far away home, so you're just going to call it.
It's fine.
What's your go-to game when you're ill? I've been choked up and been playing a lot of SteamWorld Heist. Stupidly, that's a great choice. Stupidly, I've been playing some Devil Daggers, which is the worst thing to play when you're ill.
Yeah, but great work.
Yeah, some good work came out of it, so it's fine. But yeah.
Are you ready to hearing my fiance? Are you ready to hear some good fianceing from me?
Yeah.
When Lee was really sick recently, I charged the 3DS and came in by surprise and said, "Do you want me to buy you the new Harvest Moon or the new Pokemon?"
She chose Harvest Moon.
She thought really candidly and said the new Harvest Moon.
And then which one's that? A New Life?
It's not a New Life.
Oh, because that's the
Story of Seasons, and it's average.
Oh, I heard the New Life is the good one. I looked online and apparently Harvest Moon and New Life because I was thinking about buying it the other day, but I decided to go for the new what's it called instead? The new Bravely Default. I thought I'd give it a go. A New Beginning. That's it. New Beginning is.
It came out 3 years ago.
Yeah, but apparently it's the best one.
I believe it.
So people, that's what they say.
I love that people can see us do this because it proves that we don't just care about games for our jobs. It's like I'm like, what? That's a good Harvest Moon for 3DS.
I think it's this one, unless it's another one. I can't remember. But I looked it up about what was the good one, and everyone was like, it was pretty unanimous in terms of like what people.
Yeah, well, this one came out just a couple of days ago, and it looks quite similar. Anyway,
it's probably similar. It's fine.
But I think next time I'm sick, I'm looking forward to it because I'm going to play the old Fire Emblem because I never finished that. Followed by the new Fire Emblem.
I found Fire Emblem games quite stressful. I've been playing because on your recommendation, I've been listening to some podcasts and playing some
City Skylines.
Yeah, which is
we haven't talked about this. It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is fun. It is fun. We'll probably talk on the podcast at some point as well. But it's fun. It's weird how like I can kind of see now how like obviously there were a lot of complaints about SimCity. But I feel that a lot of the really legitimate complaints about SimCity did revolve around its simulation of traffic and the fact that it just didn't exist. It was just fudging
and then you see how good it is.
And I was always like, well, actually, I don't really care about that. But I can see that that's true, and I can kind of get that people are annoyed. Then I go into City Skylines, and then I look at the DLC and realize that like all of the top-rated DLC is just like complex motorway intersections, and I'm just like all the top-rated stuff. Honestly, it's like there's so many variations of like cross-on wheels, and I was like, okay. And then I start playing it, and I'm like, okay, like actually the fun of this is all about traffic management. It's all like you just build a city and go, yeah, that's fine. And then you make it bigger and you go, oh, it's traffic. And then you get rid of all the red bits and it makes you feel good. And then you make the city bigger and then you go, oh my God, the traffic's even worse. And then and then you end up being like just puzzling over it, like thinking.
But
about
you can get around that. Like my thing that I like is I'll pick a district and zoom right in and I'll go, this is gonna be the lovely district. And because of snowfall, like I put you've got like a square of residential housing, then in the middle you put a curling rink for old people, and then you connect paths to it, like footpaths, and then you put trees everywhere, and then you zone it and you say drugs are free here, and then you go into a house and rename it Quentin's house, and then you get a phone call from Matt and you go, sorry, I'm on your way to yours now.
That's hilarious. I mean, I do love.
And then obviously the traffic is a big thing. Trams.
I do love how I'll like immediately like it's like the fact that I just immediately made a really liberal place. I was like, yeah, let's have some green energy. Yeah, let's like make public transport free. Yeah, let's like legalize drugs. And it's one of these weird things of like everyone's happy and the city's really profitable. It's like it's not as profitable as it would be if the public transport wasn't free.
It's very easy.
But,
you can crank up the difficulty if you want a more logical.
No, I'm sure. I mean, it's like I did manage within an hour of playing to like kill everybody the first time.
That was
but I was really unwell. And that was kind of stressful. It was a bit upsetting actually. You know, you're not well and you're just looking and going, why are they ill? And I didn't know what was going on, so I just thought, well, maybe they're just ill and they'll get better. And I had
maybe it's like The Stand, like Stephen King's The Stand, Matt's screenshot where like every house is boarded up and he's looking at this going,
they all died.
They might get better.
I had a big hospital.
Plague.
I had a big hospital and I built another little clinic. So I thought, look, they've got loads of medical coverage. And I just thought, well, it's probably just like in Theme Hospital. It's probably like a bug and it'll go. So I just put the speed onto triple speed. And then everybody died.
Do you have any?
And then I realised it was because I'd mixed up water towers, and I realised that you don't put water towers in heavily polluted areas because they draw up. And so what it was is all the water was being drawn from the rivers, like, but then just a tiny bit of that water before it reached something else was being drawn up from polluted areas. I basically recreated Flint in America. It was just.
Did you theme any of the industry? Because I love the logging industry.
Yeah, now I'm doing logging, pure logging. So that's part of my like eco thing. Is like I've got this big logging.
I'm pure farming, and then they didn't have enough uneducated workers, so I built a tiny sort of beautiful curving housing district with no access to schools. And then my girlfriend was horrified, and I was like, no, people choose to live there if they're farmers, but they'll go elsewhere for schools. It's fine. Simulations are weird.
Yeah, I've kind of got like some metro lines so people can go to the university and stuff, but generally there is an area which is supposed to be quite low.
But the cool thing, you know, if you want to unlock all the buildings, then you have to do awful shit to your city and find it around with the simulations.
Yeah,
it's very relaxing.
yeah.
Oh, Paul Cosgrove says, to my eternal shame, I've not read any E&M banks. Where's the place to start? Matt,
It was easy-ish question.
Matt, would you say player of games, right?
Well, the thing is, the best one is use of weapons, pretty much.
I think the three best ones are Consider Flavors, Use of Weapons, and Player of Games.
Well, I think I completely agree with that. But often some people disagree about Consider Fleabas and say that it's a bit on the schlocky side.
I think
you know what
I think wicked.
I think Consider Fleabas is a great introduction because it's like a fun sci-fi kind of action book that introduces you to the world, whereas the other ones are quite heavy from the off.
Use of Weapons is super weird though because it's structured in that very odd because of a thing I can't reveal.
Yeah, I think Use of Weapons is better to go into once you have a knowledge for the world.
I think as somebody who likes games, just read the Player of Games.
Yeah.
And then you can go into Consider Flavors.
Well, the thing is, I started with Player of Games and I loved it.
Okay.
But it was hard work. So I think that Consider Fleabas is a great starting point. It's the first culture novel as well, so it's the first one written. Consider Fleabas is a great start for the universe, then Player of Games, and then after that, you've got to read Use of Weapons. And then afterwards, there's other stuff. Accession's quite
basically
good. Surface Details.
So read the first three. Player of Games is a great start, and then you'll have an incredible time. But know that every sequential culture novel after that gets worse, and like just stop reading when you're not.
Mind you, Surface Detail was a really late release, and I really like Surface Detail.
I read Matter and didn't like it. I didn't read Surface Detail.
Yeah, I don't know. Surface Detail's cool though.
And then you can read, if you want a super masculine book, you can read Complicity. I think it's called Complicity, which is one of his non-sci-fi books. It's really good. Also read The Algebraist because I like that one. But yeah, Player of Games. Holy shit, that's fun. Hello, Niraj Patel. Thank you so much for donating. You have a really cool first name as well. I've been playing The Witcher 3 expansion, Hearts of Stone, this week, and the Wedding Quest had me laughing out loud over and over again.
You see, I haven't got to this, but I've heard many people say that it's really funny. And video
games tend not to do humor particularly well. So what are your favorite funny bits in games? I will quickly answer. Anything made by the Catamites. I've mentioned this in Theme Surfers. One word, the Catamites. One word. Google around, look for everything Stephen Murphy has done, whose code name is the Gasmites. Holy shit, I have never laughed so much playing games as any of his work. It's just the best.
I think we've covered this tons of times. I'm trying to think what's on my head. Like
the Catamites, specifically if you're looking for a place to start, the Catamites did a paid-for bundle of his 50 of his unfinished games. That's great. Or Space Funeral. That's a bit fucked up.
I know it's like there've been lots of really funny things, but I was always impressed by the the consistency and the breadth of the humor in Portal 2. I think.
Oh yeah, of course.
I think, but I mean, it's obvious one, but I think Portal 2, it's just amazing. I think it, because it does so many different types of humor and it nails them all really, really well. It's just an incredibly competent piece of comedy. Yeah. And actually also like weaves in the tragedy that really good comedy does.
He's asking for specific funny bits.
It's hard to remember, and it's hard to think because I think you're kind of getting into spoilery. I don't know, like it's because often funny bits are usually down to. I mean, the whole point, the whole premise of a joke really is building up expectation and then shocking that with surprise. So it's all the problem is. Funny bits in a game as well. That's like it's a surprise, and I don't like to. I don't know because it's kind of a shame to spoil that sometimes. Like there've been a couple of bits. Like I think there was one bit in Undertale involving.
Undertale's very funny.
This is a massive non-spoiler, but one bit in Undertale involving a dog, which was one of the funniest things I've seen in years. It was just actually had me like, oh my god, that's brilliant.
I think different people find different parts of Undertale really.
Yeah,
funny.
But I think that just really tickled me. But yeah, I mean, some people might go, "Oh, I know what he's talking about," but I just fucking hell. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I think video games don't tend to do humor that well, and we talked about this.
Not as well compared to movies or TV.
I think we talked about this on last week's Dark Souls actually, about how it's like just often video games' sense of humor is just being like satirical about video games.
Yeah,
being like, "Oh, go here and collect 10 things." It's like that's not funny. Like it's the beginning of a joke, but it's not a joke.
You start laughing because it's a reference to video games, a reference that you know well.
And I've increasingly seen that a lot of the other kind of streaks of humor in video games tend to be like just kind of trying to copy the Behemoth and failing to understand why the Behemoth is really funny. Like why like stuff like Battle Block Theatre is hilarious, but it's not because it has people shouting poop and shouting words and stuff. It's like there's a lot more to it than that. It's and so I don't know. I think it's more that actually, as we've talked in Dark Souls a lot, it's more that people are just often now a lot of comedy in games is drawing their influence from funny games, which is to begin with quite a shallow and often polluted pot.
I like in Towerfall when you shoot an arrow and it unexpectedly goes in a man's head. That's probably one of my favorite funniest bits in a game. Towerfall is really funny.
You're a violent man.
Very quickly, Nick Clark asks, "What are the board games in the background?"
Oh, that's easy. I got Mysterium. I got Flick 'em Up. I got the Cosmic Storm Cosmic Encounters expansion, which is just there because it just is. I think I've got room for it in my box, so I've just sort of got it there. It's still not open actually.
You should buy Mysterium. It's really good.
And I've got Rattle Battle Grab the Loot, which isn't very good at all.
Yeah, we were reviewing that one.
But hey, yeah.
Buy Mysterium.
Mysterium's great.
Buy Pandemic Legacy.
Oh yeah. I'm playing that. Oh no, I need to set a date for that. Got too many games. RT Dut 2 is the quick one, just because I don't think there's an answer. Who is your dream Dark Souls guest? I'm actually like, I don't think I've got any. Like, nope. I know that seems ridiculous, but I really, really, to be honest, I think I'd just say there have been some people who we've had on Dark Souls who I wish we could have on more often, but they're busy people, and I appreciate that.
Dark Souls is really, it only works because it's our friends.
Yeah, it's a personal thing.
And I think that is, so yes.
Yeah.
So like our dream guests are our friends, but our friends have all been on, so it's kind of a cop-out answer, but
yeah, I mean, also it's like people who are friends, but also like really talented, have interesting things to say. So yeah, like I couldn't be happier with the guest. That's all. I think you could have some really famous people on it, but it would be stilted, and I really don't have time for that. When you're listening to something and you're like, these people don't know each other or like each other, it doesn't make for good listening. I don't think.
Should we venture below decks? Scroll. Regression says, Quins, there are 52 weeks in a year.
That's a great question, and I think you must have got something wrong, I guess.
Thanks, Regression.
I'm just saying.
JP Corkery says, has Matt stopped doing listening impressions yet? There you go. It looks like he hasn't. James Merry, you're all stars for donating. Thank you so much. Quins, you said that you never
thanked him twice. You thanked him earlier.
Did I?
James, you're a double star.
I'm sleepy.
Oh, we're so sleepy.
We did 2 episodes of the Invisible Ink Let's Play. And Matt met his death.
Yeah, sure I did. Quinns, you said that you never really left London. What's the thing that unsettles you the most about non-London areas?
I never said that I never left London. In fact, I've been lucky enough to travel all over the fucking place. I've lived in places as far-flung as Montreal and Tokyo. In Montreal, I didn't speak enough French, and in Tokyo, I was lonely. It's been great. I've done some backpacking. I lived in Edinburgh. I lived in Manchester briefly. But what is the thing that unsettles you the most about non-London areas? I remember, well, answering this question in the spirit it was intended, I remember visiting my family in the countryside when I was like 14 and lying in the bed in their guest bedroom and just hearing no noise, like none, because it was the countryside. And I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep for like 2 hours because I'm so used to a background like hum. And that is just the most sci-fi ass thing that I can't sleep because there is no noise. And it's not like you can even hear noise in London. It's just there's a thrum. And if it's not there, then I'm like,
it is
I'm
weird,
going to be murdered.
Well, no, I like it. I'm always like, oh my God, it's so quiet. Like, it's beautiful.
Yeah, you know why it's quiet? Because a man's hiding behind a bush and he's about to kill you.
That's not how volume works.
It is. I can feel it in my spine.
Let's do a few more.
You
like diving, don't you?
I do, because they're a bit weird. William Morris asks, now that you've done ghosts, please can you make a video about how to be cool?
Oh, we don't know anything about that.
Well, William...
You don't know anything about that.
No, I don't. Well, I do in the sense that it's just about confidence, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's about liking yourself. The only thing you need to be cool is like yourself. And if you don't like yourself, figure out what you can do to
the real trick to being cool. And this is genuine.
The delivery. The real trick to be.
Listen, there was a brief period in my life when I was quite cool.
I believe it.
It was a while ago.
I believe it.
And the trick is,
it's like 20.
If you pretend that you're cool, other people believe that you're cool, and then they treat you like you're cool,
and then you
are cool. And that's it. It's actually a ridiculous confidence trick. And then you realize that actually that's all life is. You just pretend to be something and then people believe that you are it. And then you are it.
Basically,
by people acting like you are it, it reinforces and you actually become it.
At age 22, you'll realize who you want to be.
Ridiculous.
And by 30, you'll feel comfortable having acted.
You'll realize that actually you didn't want to be that person.
And that's at 35. And then at 40, you
buy a fast car.
Yes, I'm so looking forward to that part of my life. Nick Case says, on a normal question tangent, what's the easiest way to get a reliable group together for an RPG campaign? The easiest way is very simply to get your friends involved and
find some people who want to do it.
Or that.
I think that's the important trick, and it's the same thing with board games. So people say, how do I get a good board game group together? Don't try and coerce your friends to doing something they don't want to do. Just find people who want to do it. And if you can't find any friends who want to do it, just like find some other people, like look online. I mean, my brother actually, like, he's now goes to like a lot of like Monday night board game meetups in Manchester because his mates like playing board games, but he's interested in like playing more stuff and playing heavier stuff, and he can't get his group of friends into it. And he's tried, so now he just goes to things and plays them with other people.
You'll find people online, and like yeah, you might be surprised that friends of yours are into.
Yeah, some people might be up for it. But honestly, like, I spent years of my life like trying to get people to do things with me because I wanted to do them, and it's just a false quest.
But honestly, we're making it sound easy, but Nick, it is really hard.
It can be hard.
I didn't have the right group for role playing for like. I got into it at age 13 and didn't have a proper group until I was 16 or 17, and then I had that for a couple of years and I lost it. It's tough.
RPGs are particularly hard because you can all play a board game and be getting different things out of it, and that's fine. But with an RPG, you all want to get roughly the same thing out of it. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
But
so no, not an easy question. Go on the internet or try and convert your friends.
Yeah. But don't push it, honestly. Like, I mean, I've taken great pleasure this year of just being like, I'm not going to try and get my friends to do things I want to do. I'm going to do the things I want to do, and then make friends wherever that is. You know.
Yes. Oz Mills asks, has Lee let you have ducks at your wedding yet, Quinns? She doesn't know it yet, but she will.
There are going to be so many ducks. Ducks out the wazoo.
Charles Pegg, let's answer this. He says, how did you find your fiance? How did you meet your fiancés? I made Charles sound creepier than he was.
And I made a creepy joke.
I found mine under a sofa.
I was a friend of a friend. And yeah, I basically it's complicated. I'm too tired to tell the
story. I met my girlfriend when Kieran Gillen, who now writes Phonogram and, Wicked and the Divine and Darth Vader and stuff, he used to be a games writer, and he told me that Lee and I should breed and produce the games journalist Messiah. And we're going to do that.
Which is a really strong third party come on.
Do you want to pick something?
Let's pick something.
You're scrolling to the top.
I'm scrolling to the top.
I like being at the bottom.
I know, but
it's
you got
wild.
Yeah, but you know, you got
to let the people have their say.
You got to let. Well, yeah,
it should be like communism. We should just pick one entirely at random.
Yeah, I got some great people. Mr. Royal Sam. Actually, I'm just going to cover this really briefly, just to say something, because I just want to say something really easily, quickly here. This is about something saying Matt's been talking quite about good games writers leaving the industry.
Hi, Sam Foster.
Hey, Sam. Sorry. And saying, and Lee has done a well-deserved bunk. Yeah, she's gone through some better stuff. That's cool. Oh, yeah. Is this sad or healthy? And do you secret nurse games industry exit strategies? I just want to say, because a lot of people got.
You don't need to end the question because.
Oh no, I did. Whoops. I was just saying, like, a lot of people thought that it was me saying like, there's no one good in games anymore. Everyone's left. It's shit. It's not that. It's more that like it's an endless cycle of like people come in and then they do it for a few years and then they leave because they're kind of done with it. And that's partly because I think, as a few people have said, like you maybe have like usually you have 1 or 2 good years. And then you've kind of done or said everything you've got to say. I think we're kind of making exceptions to that by exploring how we do it and what we do. And
I don't know if it's true that you have 1 or 2 good years. I think it's true that once you've been doing your best work for 1 or 2 years and you realize that your best work doesn't get you anywhere. Like,
yeah, that's true.
My promotions and generally being elevated have never come from people going, holy shit, this guy's on fire. We need to hire him now. They go, I think this guy's good, or he's going somewhere.
Yeah.
When I do great work, I don't get rewarded for it in games writing and games criticism and video making. So, like, and if you do that to anyone, they'll leave eventually because they'll get better job offers from someone else.
That is true. That is true. But yeah, it's basically just an interesting thing of. I think it's really funny because I've had a few messages from people who've been really angry about this because I think they misunderstood.
They just misunderstood,
which is fine. But I just want to say that it's just I'm looking forward to maybe a point where like we might, because I know that it's the same thing with all of criticism, with like, you know, it's difficult to remain a critic for a long time because you're in conflict with everyone at some point or another, and it's just the nature of your job. And
no one wants to give a critic lots of money because by your very nature you're criticizing the status quo.
Yeah, you're literally either like making audiences look stupid or you're pissing off the people who pay advertisers or whatever. Anyway, but I think it would be really cool to see video games reach a point where we could have like at least like one Mark Commode or something. I can't think of anyone who is like an even vaguely culturally respected critic who is not like.
You know, the dumb thing though is that like if you look at like the games, if that person came along, the games industry wouldn't recognize it because that person has come along, I would say, like 2 or 3 times. And
oh no, and that is what I mean.
And nothing happens.
We've had these people, and this is what I mean.
And the games
it's not a case of me. Like I think a lot of people saw that stuff and thought I was saying everyone's shit. Oh, the games industry shit now. It's not. It's more that the cycle keeps happening, and there's no infrastructure set up for like there to be any interest in keeping a hold of these people. Like,
but
I think there will be, but I just don't think we're there, and I don't think we'll be there for a while. And I just think I'd love to see that where like I find it sad that all of these people who I've been reading the stuff of, like people like John Blythe and a lot of them are friends of mine, obviously, but it's like the reason I kind of got to know them a bit is because I was in awe of their work, like John Blythe, Steve Hoggerty, like just unbelievable, like different writers just doing amazing stuff, and then everyone drifts away. Lee, you know, like, everyone drifts away, and it's fine. I get it, it's the cycle, but I'd love to see a world where like we actually had the cultural, not just the money, that the cultural infrastructures actually support these people and keep them there for longer than just like.
It was what Lee said
it's a cycle of moths, you know.
When Lee left, she said the main thing she wanted was for people to stop having the same conversations over and over. Like it's
yeah, it's that realization that by the time you're tapping out, there's somebody else who's just about to start who's going to write all the same things that you wrote,
and it's just like fuck that. Like you go nuts because you see.
Yeah, no. So that's it. It's just, it was funny.
It's not that we have exit strategies; it's that games aren't doing what they can to keep us, right?
Yeah, and I think it's cool. Like, you know, I feel like at the moment we're doing our best to like circumvent it, but it's all a bit Frankenstein's monster shit, really, in a way of like, you know, one of the reasons I started doing the sort of stuff that I do and we continue to do is the fact that you realize that it's a dead end, because it's like the cycles. You see it and you go, you're just another moth. You are literally just waiting for the point where you either burn yourself out against the light bulb or you fly away and do something else. And it's like, well, there's got to be another option. So I guess kind of a lot
like a moth house.
Yeah, like a moth house
next to the light bulb.
So I guess that in a way, like part of what we're doing is rather than looking for a way out, it's looking for a way to escape the loop, looking for a way to be able to, because you realize that culturally we're not in a position where anyone's ever going to be able to handle this, and no one's going to say, oh yeah, you guys are great, you're going to be like looked after now. Culturally, it's just not going to happen within our lifetime. So within our career lifetime. And so you kind of think, well, we've got to you've got to try and circumvent that loop. So we might not succeed, but I think it's less. I think a lot of people are looking for exit strategies, and we know a lot of great people who are either exited or looking for a way out. But we're not really looking for a way out. We're looking for a way to do something different.
No, we're happy right now.
If it doesn't work, then we'll just run away.
Yeah, we shut up and sit down. Cool Ghosts. Everything is proceeding normally. We're not going away.
No.
We
have ambitions to stop. Really,
we're having a great time right now. We're not going to stop. If the plan starts going off the rails, we will talk candidly to Funwraiths about it. But right now, everything's going great. Let's blitz some of these. Hello, Eric Moore. You're a fabulous, beautiful donor, and we love you. He says he recently purchased Spyfall, and the box had a recommended by Shut Up and Sit Down emblem with a pear on it. How does that make you feel? And would you enjoy seeing that for games recommended by Cool Ghosts?
See, for Cool Ghosts, that will never happen. But, oh man, I love it. Like, I get so jazzed because I designed that little pair recommended thing, and it took me about a day and a half, and I love it. And when I saw that over Christmas because my brother brought Spyfall, and it was that version. I was like, it was the first time I'd seen it in the flesh.
There is another game coming out that has that logo on, and it's a print run.
That's just amazing. Like, it's so cool. Like, it's probably the coolest thing.
It's like me at the live podcast. You're like, this is the best.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love it. But that'll never happen with Cool Ghosts because like it will always be like
video games.
9 out of 10 IGN. That's fine.
Ross M, another Shut Up and Sit Down related question, says, I love the Mega Game video, so I went to a Mega Game, and now I'm a weird expert on interwar naval treaties.
Aren't we all?
If you were to run a Mega Game, what would be your perfect scenario? If people have no idea what Ross is talking about, go and Google Shut Up and Sit Down Mega Game and have a great fun watching one of the weirdest things Matt and I have ever filmed. 2
different videos, both of which are equally really weird and really fun. They're really good videos, I think. I'm too tired not to be smoking my own trumpet.
What would be a perfect scenario? What period of history am I?
I don't know. Like, to be honest, it's one of those things where like I just have tons of different ideas, and actually, it's like I don't know, like because a lot of them I could do. A lot of them would be like kind of trite medieval stuff. Let's just laugh.
I mean, yeah, they just do it. They do it already. I don't think what would be a perfect scenario. I mean, like it'd
be great to have a higher intensity thing that was just like a massive ladies and gentlemen of just being like, you've got a ball.
Well, that's just LARPing, yeah.
But that would just be it's just LARPing, and I think it worked well. I don't know.
A kind of, a sort of rebellion in a sort of Banana Republic would be pretty good. Is Banana Republic an offensive term? I don't know.
I have no idea.
Thade says, who would win in a fight? Very sick Matt Lees or very drunk Matt Lees?
Very drunk. I'm useless when I'm sick. I mean, I'm useless when I'm drunk, but like, I couldn't fight like now. I couldn't even run away.
He's too sad. He would
just lie down and take it.
Andrew Redcon says, since you mentioned role-playing, what video games do you think do, quote, role-playing really well? Sunless Sea has a load of really interesting decisions that enable you to not... We talked about this in the last podcast, but with Mass Effect, it's so dumb because it's like, first off, it says, you're going to be this guy, you're going to be this guy. And then that's the bit of role playing you do. And then everything beyond that, there is no role playing because any future decision is like, you can do the good thing or the bad thing. And you go, I said I was going to be the good guy, so I'll do the good thing. And it's not even a choice. You're vanishingly small number of choices in Mass Effect. Sunless Sea, though, it lets you have a character, lets you fold that character's personality back and have changes of heart and go over here and then go, oh no, but now I've seen this and now I'm going to go over here. And you really are inhabiting a character with loads of great choices.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time it's the fact that because if you're doing like role playing, the idea is that you have a character, but the GM knows who your character is, and they can like sort of write something which is gonna play with that.
Yeah.
Whereas with a video game, it's like, well, we don't know what you've made, or also personally, so they have to account for everything, and often that means like the accountability is not quite right, and also the options you get are not quite right.
Yeah, so many of the options in role playing video games are just
I'm a dick or I'm nice.
You know what does good role playing is 80 Days as well, the iPad and Steam game, because similarly they know what kind of character you are because they put you in the shoes of Passepartout and say Passepartout is this kind of guy.
Yeah.
And they know that, and you can be this kind of Passepartout or this.
And also,
but there's similar enough that you can always fold back and forth.
Yeah, and you're role playing not just a guy, a man and a job. And so, like, you kind of you're held accountable to your job. And if you're behaving in a way which is not fit for your job, which is a thing, then you're kind of held to account for that. And I like that. But also, I mean, basically, that's what it boils down to: is really good role playing tends to be in games where you are given a fixed character, and then it gives you choices that work with that character. And actually, I've been playing, finally, I'm really late on the wagon, I'm playing The Witcher 3, and I like The Witcher 3 a lot. But one of the things that's really missing from The Witcher 3, and it's present in the first hour of the game, but then it kind of very gradually just disappears entirely, is Geralt as a character. I mean, Geralt's still there as a person who looks real and a great voice acting and all this stuff, and the beard, but increasingly it's just maybe it's the idea that he's Geralt and he's older and he's got a bit more heart now, but it's just what I loved about The Witcher 1, The Witcher 2 is that the idea that it was your job to kill things and people didn't like you, and you turned up and you weren't just always given the option to just be I don't know, you were given the option to be nice, but it's just, I don't know, it doesn't seem to give you enough options to be somebody who's just and I guess it's a difficult thing to have a character play for a long time.
Be someone who has a job?
Well, it's more the idea that you're supposed to kind of be playing a character who turns up and people don't really like you, but you just say, well, what's your problem? It's going to cost you this much money, and then you do it. And that's what I really liked about that, is
the grim professionalism.
In the second game especially, you had this much more of a sense of grim professionalism, and when you were doing stuff that was nothing to do with that, you were doing that with a kind of sigh of being yeah, actually, I'm in a pickle here, I'm in a situation, I need to do this because otherwise I'm in trouble. And it was it's purely self-preservation.
So in The Witcher 3, it's more you're just floating through the world solving problems like a generic RPG.
Well, you're given more options to either go, no, yeah, I'd like paying, please, or go, don't worry about it, and you just given too frequently options which veered towards just being a generic kind of good guy. Whereas in the second one, I loved there was one bit where you just got an option to punch a priest in the face straight away because you're just he was rude to you, and you don't give a fuck. You're not human. You're not involved in their politics. Yeah. You just shut the fuck up, boom. That was perfect role playing for the character in that world. Whereas, it's not bad, but it's a bit of a shame because it just veers into that kind of everyman RPG. And I think that's what people demand. They want to play any kind of character they want, but that's never good role playing because you know what? You always just end up playing a slightly watered down, idealistic version of yourself, and we're boring.
Yeah, I'm with Matt. I'm gonna have to go, but
yeah, sorry.
Let's just rock it through.
Right. Okay.
Because the most upvoted people need. We're gonna be so fast. Regression asks, who would win in a fight between a mat-sized reference pair and 100 reference pair-sized mats? Oh man, if a pair's really big, how do you climb it? Because it's got that curved bottom.
Lots of tiny, they just bash it out. 100 to me would win because I'm a sentient kid.
The reference pair would win because as soon as you start hitting it, it would rock and crush.
Yeah, crush some of them. Yeah, well, it'd be a draw.
A draw.
Ceasefire.
Francis Esquadro says, given how busy you all are and the geographic distribution, when was the last time that all, quote, classic Shut Up, Sit Down contributors, Pip, Brendan, Paul, and yourselves, were in the same room? Have we ever been in the same room?
I don't
Because Pip,
know.
always one of us was missing.
Yeah, with the mega games, most of us, but then Pip couldn't make it. Paul's
leaving party, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know if we've all ever been in the same room. It's difficult to get everyone together.
We must have been in the same room at some point.
It's difficult. I mean, it's difficult. And now Brendan's on a beach, so
in Costa Rica,
Costa Rica, which makes
he's going to come back fully in my wedding, then. So
that'll be. Or
maybe if he can.
Hopefully, we
are planning. Hopefully, remember we're going to get all those people in the same room for an event on Shut Up and Sit Down's 5th anniversary. But I wouldn't cross your fingers because
it's
very busy.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Paul Gosgrove asks, how many weeks are in a year, Quins? Which reminds me, I just have to check how I'm getting home. It's 52, isn't it? It's 52. Yeah. I answered that before Google came up with.
Yeah, he did. He did.
He did.
He knew that before.
That's only because the girl told me just now.
Didn't she say 53 then? I don't remember. I don't remember.
53 a week, yeah. James Mary says, apart from this, what's the worst tech failure you've ever had professionally? I love this. I love this as much as when you ask chefs, what's the worst you've injured yourself? Because Jamie Oliver's fucked himself up. It's a great question to ask any celebrity chef.
Yeah, I think I've never ended up with scars from tech failures, so I don't remember them as well. I don't know. I think I've had so many tech failures. That's kind of why I'm quite good at what I do in terms of filming now, is because I've had so many times where I fucked it up, and it's just I get so angry when I fuck it up that I just don't do it again. I think probably the worst thing was after months of trying to set up. And I mean, to be fair, it was stupid. It was like perfectionism gone wrong. But I got so obsessed with making my FTL video, which is still worth watching. I got so obsessed with making everything how I wanted it to be. And it had some really high level weird shit going on that now I would not do. I'd just do it in After Effects. But I had like bike lights which were flashing on my face and stuff to make it look like a computer was there, but it was really soft and subtle and all this stuff. Anyway, I set up all this stuff and I had like chairs with things to touch on it, so I made it look like they were pads which were in the same positions as the cockpit. Had all this set up, filmed it on the green screen. It took me ages, and then I just started. I just sat looking at the footage in Premiere, and I was waiting for the footage to like buffer, waiting for it to like load up because it was like not hadn't loaded up completely. And then it wasn't loading up, and I was looking at the footage that hadn't loaded up, and then I realized that like the blurriness on the footage was like not artifact. It wasn't like it was like low resolution. It just was blurred, and I was like, oh, it's almost like a perfect camera blur. And then I just went and realized I'd recorded like an hour of footage, and it was just totally out of focus. It just wasn't even a bit out of focus. It was just like I had the faux camera just wasn't focused. And I've just never been so sad. But I used to have tech failures all the time, like streaming especially. Like I used to drive me mental. I hate it. I find it really stressful because it's like you're supposed to be at a wedding and then suddenly you realize you're 10 minutes late and you've forgotten your shoes. And you know, it's like, where are my shoes? I don't know. And especially there's something about the immediacy of live, of being like, it's really hard to test live if you're just one person with one computer. You can't just be like, oh, can we do a test? Can you see that? Okay, is that okay? Like it's when you've got one computer, it's a bit like you just set it all up and go, I hope this works. And then you just sort of like try and do it, and you throw the little like bird robot off a cliff and it just crashes into the sea. And
Paul and I can beat that technical failure. We did a review of Arkham Horror, which was a standalone review in much the same way we do now, a board game review, and the whole thing was like this Lovecraftian looping plot whereby we piss off the box of Arkham Horror by giving it a lukewarm review, and then it curses us and loops the review. Anyway, it's great. It's one of the best things we've ever done in terms of plotting. And we filmed it. Me and Paul are in our pajamas because it's meant to be late at night, and we're running around the table. It's all beautifully lit. And Arkham Horror, by the way, takes like half an hour to set up. And I sit down to edit the next day, and half of the sound from the labs is just disconnected. Like there's no sound. And we'd filmed across like 6 hours. So I just called up Paul and we're like,
oh my God,
can you come over tomorrow? And he came over again the very next night. We recreated the flat perfectly. Same streamers hanging from the ceiling. Same pajamas, laying out the board game. Same again, like another 5 hours of work from two of us. But we had to do it because it was our Halloween special and we wanted it up on Halloween. So we met up the very next night, cancelled all of our plans, and just filmed it again. I did. And that has always been my story of why Shut Up and Sit Down deserves to succeed in the face of the board game press. Because there is not a site or podcast out there with like that much whatever madness, I guess, to do that again.
It is sometimes that thing of being like, we do it again. Didn't we do that with Dark Souls, on the early ones?
Yeah, we blew up a Dark Souls and then recorded it again.
And we just went, fuck, we're doing it again. We're doing the whole damn
That was
podcast.
back when our phrase was no ghosts, Max Ganache.
Yeah, no ghosts, Max Ganache. We've really gone against that. I've not had any Ganache in a long time. And
I brought that phrase back a couple of weeks ago, I think.
Oh, man. 2
more questions.
2 more.
Osmil says, if you could call yourself 5 years ago and had 30 seconds... Oh, 5 years. How old would I be? 23. If you could call yourself up 5 years ago and had 30 seconds, what would you say? Oh, man, I think... No, 5 years ago, I used to have a really decent collection of books.
Eat more cake. Eat more cake.
I had 6 years ago, I had a really good collection of books, and I was just like, yeah, like possessions, yeah, who cares? And I left them at a charity shop. And then it took 3 years for me to go,
oh, no.
No!
Yeah, I got rid of so much stuff that I miss, but I don't know. 5 years.
I'm completely content with the way my career and my life has gone.
Yeah, like
everything has been a lesson.
I think I took lots of risks, like, but they've all been fine. Like I got
hit by a car 5 years ago, but even that I don't regret. Like, like that story has been like endless source of pub bullshit.
Yeah, I don't think I've got anything particularly to like avoid. Like just like be more careful on your bike. Like I almost got myself killed a couple of times on my bike. So I know, but like it's still, I don't know if I don't know what happened. Like, I mean, I think if you got called from 5 years in the future, like part of you will be like, holy fuck, this is insane. The other part of me might be like, all right, Dad.
If I called myself 5 years ago, I'd probably pretend to be someone else, so past me didn't get weirded out by future me, and then change the timelines.
Well, I know my brother, like my little brother, doesn't really take advice from me very well because he's just like older brother. Sometimes he does, but sometimes he's like, yeah. So I kind of wonder if I'd treat future Matt as the same, be like, oh yeah, you think you're so much better.
Well, have you seen?
You're
Have you
literally
seen
me from 5 years in the future?
Have you seen Looper?
Yeah,
I love that scene. I'm just finding a good one for the last one.
That's an easy one.
No, I want to find a good one.
Okay. That's an easy one.
I know it's easy. I'm looking for a good one.
All right. That's what I was saying.
Oh, Magnus.
That's good.
Thank you so much for donating, Magnus. Magnus's question.
Yeah.
Magnus, you're a star. Magnus, he says, I sadly don't have a question, but I kind of want to hear you say my last name. Much love. And that is from
Magnus.
Magnus A.
I'm going to go for Magnus Ardnoy.
Whoa. That was wicked. Yeah, I bet you're right. But that means you've said that, so now I have to go somewhere else in the quiz show format. So I'm going to say Magnus Ardney.
Ardney, that's good as well. That's good as well.
We have a tongue twister for me to read before we go.
Oh, we do, yeah.
Someone, because I was doing tongue twisters last time, and I was white hot and didn't miss a beat. Someone wrote a giant Cool Ghosts themed tongue twister. We'll get their name and the tongue twister right up here.
Right up here. Right up here.
No. You just scroll down through all of that, obviously.
This is from
Full Meeple Alchemist or at Cynical Monkey. Fuck, this is challenging.
Wow, this is horrible. You can do this. I'm not going to. This is a tongue twister for Quins.
It's been great having you all tonight. Thank you all so much for donating.
I will verify it with my
I'm not going to make it. It's far too long.
It's
too long. Quins carefully queried commenters for quick questions and quizzical concerns of quintessential crazes and current conundrums, while casually quipping and quaffing contraband with quite a catastrophic concentration of exquisite yet illicit levels of fractional distillation. His inebriated state not sated, he began elated to debate and relate takes of fake japes and real feels from lame games to estranged engagement proclamations and fleeting cheating situations, flouncing floral rehydrations, inconveniently not carnations. And before he left the station, bragged to the congregation of convened contributors of confidence, coin, and conversation of his need indeed to read a screed or verse or worse, maybe a curse, fit to burst with alliteration. And though quite pissed, he did persist that his tongue to twist we should insist, and I would remiss to resist a challenge hissed on a night like this to test a linguist and distinguish if this braggart could be extinguished, or if his English pronunciation showed his education with exquisite pronunciation of the prose effortlessly.
You did really well there, though.
Effortlessly, energetically, he enraptured our ensemble with elegant elocution examples, elated our excitement, sated, and the evening evaporated. So for my sins, might have beens, and the evening full of grins, I did not defeat the boy called Quins.
You see, you didn't really fuck it up. You just put a full stop in the wrong place. You just tried to.
I run out of breath.
Oh, okay.
Like it's fucking. I ran out of breath, man.
I'm not surprised you ran out of breath. That was very long.
I am undone. Full Meeple Alchemist.
You did well.
I am undone.
Thank you very much for joining us, everybody, on this.
If you got a tongue twister for the next one,
yeah, send it over. He'll do it. I'm not doing it. I'm so tired.
Motherfucker, I gotta go home.
He's got to go home, and yeah, that's a full attempt. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us.
You are all stars.
You're all brilliant. We love you very much.
We absolutely do. Thank you so much for letting us do our dream jobs.
Yeah, basically. We'll speak soon. Take care. Goodbye.